started more than 20 years ago, when you started with the initial investment you got from the Bank of Industry, did you ever envision that you'd one day have something like this?
No, absolutely. From day one, when we formed the vision, for the entire business, one of the first things we thought about was that we were going to have a plant that was going to be WHO certified and that would also be able to manufacture across all the therapeutic ranges. Well, we started with a seed money that was barely $2.5 million at that time, in 1995. Through our own working capital, right, we were also able to, pull together all that was needed to invest $40 million in building this place. When the product comes out to this side through a small hole, they are already filled, capped, and labeled.
One issue that has plagued Nigeria and a lot of African countries for a long time is the issue of fake drugs. What's being done to target that problem?
The unfortunate thing is that the borders are very porous, right? As you know, our land borders, stretch from Cotonou all the way to the north, all the way to Chad, Niger. And these products do find, their way in more through the land borders than the sea borders and, our air, facilities. My take is that about 40% of what we consume locally today are locally manufactured and 60% are imported. But when you improve these factories, when you provide financing, when, infrastructural, issues are tackled, all of this will change. In another 5 years, I think we'll be singing a different, song altogether.
So do you plan to invest more in life-saving drugs that Nigerians typically rely on imports to get a hold of?
Absolutely. The reason we have put up this facility, which is the newest and the best in terms of standards, is because we are going into those critical care products. We have an infusion plant here where we can do anything and everything, from morphines to petidines to oxytocins, and a whole lot of other life-saving drugs, to even blood plasma. As we scale up, we'll go from just manufacturing branded generics into these critical care products.
So even with, let's say, malaria drugs, how do you compete with the importers on something like that?
Oh, absolutely. The locally manufactured malarial drugs, right, are way cheaper. We're about
so why do people
30% of the price.
Why do people still pick the imported drugs if the made in Nigeria version is cheaper?
Again, knowledge, right. Most people do not realize that it is not the cost of a product, that makes the quality, right, or the value that they expect. Most of the imported products have built quite a bit of equity through adverts, through all manners of incentives, to hospitals and doctors, on this brand. So these brands have become expensive. If you went to a typical pharmacy or a chemist to buy one of these brands, they are 3 times more expensive than the Nigerian brands. No country in the world can sustain provision of health care for our people without local manufacturing.
How much pressure is there, just financially, to move to automation? Because obviously you don't want people here to lose their jobs.
Well, there's a lot of pressure. You don't get to move to automate a product or automate the packaging of a product until you have the right volumes.
Right.
Right. When you have the right, volume demand, that is when you automate.
You packed 12,000 in one day. I actually packed 3 for you, so now it's going to be 12,004.
No, you'll get paid for that.
I hope so.